Well, hello, people. Welcome back to 90 and Out. I'm Timothy Holt, and this is the What is the Bible podcast. This series is all about what is the Bible. What is this thing we call the Christian Bible or the Protestant Bible? And we are going through the composition and construction of it. So right now, this episode's going to be covering the major prophets: Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, and Daniel. So without further ado, let's hit the music. All right. Welcome back to 90 and Out. What is the Bible podcast? I'm Timothy Holt, and we are still making our way through the 1 year chronological Bible over on Facebook if you want to check out those reels every day in 2025. And next month in February, we will be doing a full Bible review on this monochrome Bible. It is a beautiful Bible, well put together. So check that out when it comes out. And this episode, as the intro pointed out, we are going over the major prophets. They're called major prophets because they wrote more, not because they're more important or have better things to say, but simply because they said more of it than the minor prophets. There are 4 prophets, 5 books, and let's get right into our overview. So to start with, we have Isaiah. So Isaiah is pretty interesting because he is notable for having 2 major sections in the 66 chapters. We have chapters 1 through 39, which covers impending judgment and discipline from God for evil, and this anticipation of a Savior or a Messiah that's going to liberate the Jewish people and reconcile them back to God and also be a blessing to all nations. Isaiah gets a lot of focus by a certain group of Christians known as evangelicals and Pentecostals. They spend quite a bit of time in Isaiah for all of those eschatological prophecies, those end times stuff that we get in Isaiah. And then the 40 chapters 40 through 66 is told from a different perspective. It's told from this perspective of being after the exile, after the fall of Jerusalem, after all of that impending doom and judgment, and the reconciliation, the reconstruction. That's also where we get this concept of millennial reign. So you could quantify the first part as the law and the second part as being under grace, which mirrors or looks similar in structure to the Old Testament being 39 books and the New Testament being 27 books, giving us 66 books in total. Now, there's not really a 1-to-1 chapter per book for it. It's just an overview. And yes, this is Iris, for those of you who have seen her coming in and out of various videos. She's a great dog. She is an eyeball. She can see the way. Miss Iris here. So that's Isaiah. Isaiah is by far the longest of the prophetic books, and it's got so much packed into it. If you've never read Isaiah straight through, I highly recommend it. So Jeremiah, Isaiah also is writing between 739 BC and 681 BC. So pretty far back there. If we fast forward about 60-ish years, 65 years, we will get to Jeremiah. Jeremiah sees the fall of Jerusalem to the Babylonians. He witnesses firsthand numerous attacks by foreign powers like the Neo-Assyrians and the Babylonians, including the destruction and overtaking fall of Judah in 556 BC, 4 years before his death. So as a result, Jeremiah is the weeping prophet. His two books, the one Jeremiah and the other Lamentations, are full of sorrow and anguish and lament. The original title for Lamentations is Ikah, which is translated alas, because it's all mourning for the destruction of Jerusalem. There is hope in Jeremiah, though, and Lamentations, of this coming Messiah, this coming Savior that's going to bring the children of Israel back together and back to their homeland. But the overall feel of the narrative is very sad and depressing, because this once great people have been just decimated by their enemies. And the overall theme there is it's because they're evil and they have forsaken God and turned from his commandments and aren't following his commandments. You're probably going to see a running theme here as we get to Ezekiel. So Ezekiel picks up about halfway through the time of Jeremiah, and he is a priest. In 597 he starts. You can also see where this happens in 2 Kings 24. So if you go to 2 Kings 24, it says, the rest of the events of Jehoiakim's reign and all his deeds are recorded in the book of the history of the kings of Judah. When Jehoiakim died and his son Jehoiachin became the next king, the king of Egypt did not venture out of his country after that, for the king of Babylon captured the entire area formerly claimed by Egypt, from the brook of Egypt to the Euphrates. That is the fall of Judah. That area was Judah, and Egypt had been coming at Judah for quite a long time. You can read about that. Well, Jeremiah talks about it. Ezekiel is a teenager when this happens, and he gets hauled off to Babylon. And he's notable for that millennial reign and this coming judge that's going to judge all the nations. Not just Israel, not just Judah, not just the people of God, of Yahweh, but all the nations for all of their evil. That's Ezekiel. But the overall push that Ezekiel gives is no matter how bad it gets, trust in God through everything. There's this motif of a refiner's fire. And if you want the best gold, you got to put it through the furnace and get all the impurities out. And that all these hardships, all these trials, all these tribulations, all of this bad stuff happening is to purge the evil from the people and get them to turn to God and become righteous. Now, the last book in the major prophets, if you know anything about eschatology, you've heard pastors talk about this book. It's Daniel. Daniel and Revelation seem to be their favorite books. So Daniel is split into two parts. Daniel is a contemporary of Ezekiel. He is about the same age as Ezekiel. He might be slightly older, but he's also a teenager when he gets hauled off to Babylon. He actually grows in prominence over 3 empires. The Babylonians, the Medes, and then the Persians. And he gains prominence in the royal courts of all 3 of them, which is pretty impressive. If you know much about ancient history, when a new people would conquer another people, they tended to wipe out the entire ruling class. Just execute them all. But Daniel survives. And he doesn't just survive, he thrives. He becomes the man of dreams, similar to Joseph back in Exodus. But it's 2 parts. The first one is covering his life in these 3 empires. It's where we get the lion's den. It's where we get the Daniel fast. It's where we get the fiery furnace with his 3 buddies, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Amazing stories, which archaeology has backed up pretty well. But then, chapter 7, we see this massive shift. It's unlike any other book in the Old Testament or New Testament because of this. First half is history, second half is prophecy compilation. And his dreams are disturbing, to put it mildly. We're actually going to look at one of them. It's chapter 9, okay? So, chapter 9, where is it here? Daniel 9, here we go. A period of 70 sets of 7 has been decreed for your people and your holy city to finish their rebellion, to put an end to their sin, to atone for their guilt, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to confirm the prophetic vision, and to anoint the most high place. Now listen and understand. 70 sets of 7 plus 62 sets of 7 will pass from the time the command is given to rebuild Jerusalem until a ruler, the anointed one, the Messiah, comes. Jerusalem will be rebuilt with streets and strong defenses despite the perilous times. After this period of 72 sets of 7, the anointed one, also known as the Messiah, will be killed, appearing to have accomplished nothing, and a ruler will arise whose armies will destroy the city and the temple. The end will come with a flood, and war and its miseries are decreed from the time to the very end. The ruler will make a treaty with the people for a period of 1 set of 7, but after half this time he will put an end to the sacrifices and offerings, and as a climax to all his troubled deeds, he will set up a sacrilegious object that causes desecration until the fate decreed for this defiler is finally poured out on him. Now, if you look at a calendar, Daniel is writing a little over 400 years, about 500 years, before the birth of Jesus, the Messiah. 3.5 years into his public ministry, he's executed in 33 AD. 70 AD, Jerusalem is laid barren and a wasteland after being destroyed by Rome. That's pretty impressive prophetic word there for Daniel. Like, that's awfully specific, right? So that leads me to ask the question, if Jesus is not the coming Messiah, then who is? Because where I come from, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, waddles like a duck, and water flows off of his back like a duck, it's probably a duck. Yeah, that's Daniel. I mean, the first half is a history book. It's straight up a biography of the life of Daniel, from him as a teenager being captured by the Babylonians, through his death as an old man in the Persian Empire. And then the second half of the book, all the way through chapter 12, is these prophetic dreams that have insane accuracy. And I do mean like insane accuracy. He talks about the 4 major empires with this statue. And then the feet are clay and bronze mix. There's 4 major empires between when he's writing and the fall of the Roman Empire. I mean, it's just mind-bogglingly fascinating, the detail given in this ancient book. So, ask yourself, have you ever read, I want to know in the comments, let me know, have you ever read these 5 books just straight through? Like, not to study eschatology or to study messianic prophecy or do a character study, but simply picked up one of the books, say Daniel, for example, and then just read it, just to read it. If so, how'd it go? Like, did you get a different perspective of these writers than, say, if you're looking at trying to foretell the future with the end times? Or you're trying to prove whether or not Jesus is the Messiah? I mean, I have done that with Daniel and thoroughly enjoyed it. Daniel is probably one of my favorite books of the prophets. I really like Daniel. I don't know if it's coming through in the video or not, how much I enjoy reading Daniel. But Daniel is just one of those books that's captured my attention and curiosity since I was, a teenager. Literally since I was a teenager, I've enjoyed reading Daniel. It just amazes me how it's written and this two-parter concept and how it flows. So let me know. And I think that's where we're going to cover this, come to a close here, is with that concerning Daniel. With that, let's cue the outro and conclude this video. All right. Well, if you are still watching, thank you so much for your time and your attention. If you are not subscribed or following this channel and you're still watching, what's stopping you? What's holding you back from just hitting that button? Okay? I would greatly appreciate it. Everybody here at 90 and Out would appreciate helping this channel grow. We're still going through the 1-year chronological Bible by Tyndale Publishing in the NLT, the New Living Translation. If you want to see, follow how that's going, head over to our Facebook page with daily reels. And we will be doing a full review at the end of the year on this printing itself in this podcast, What is the Bible? Also next month, after we do our video going over rough overview of the minor prophets, we are going to take a short break and do a full Bible review on this monochrome Bible in the New Testament. It's the New Testament in the King James Version. I was trying to remember. In the King James Version. So you're going to not want to miss that either. Lots of things going on here at 90 and Out. We are getting ready to roll out with live streams as well. And the live streams will be chronicling that journey. I hope you join us as we explore what seminary is over the next 2.5 years with the live streams. So with that, God bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and give you peace. Thank you.